Imagine it's January 2000. The world is buzzing with Y2K fears that never came to pass, and I'm sitting in my quiet room, unemployed for the moment, staring at a blank notebook. Little did I know, this simple act of picking up a pen would launch me on a profound journey, a quest to find traces of God in the vast expanse of science. If you've ever wondered where faith and facts collide, or if they've been at war all along, stick around. This is my story, and it might just spark questions in your own mind. In the beginning, well, my beginning anyway, it was the start of a new millennium, and I decided to document my thoughts in this large notebook. With time on my hands, I dove headfirst into specialized scientific literature. My focus? The search for traces of God. I wanted to know where science had stopped in understanding our universe. How far had it gone? I discovered that fundamental science seemed stuck in a dead end. It had boiled down all interactions in the universe to just four types: the strong interaction, the weak interaction, electromagnetic, and gravitational. Scientists were scratching their heads, trying to unravel the nature of these forces. They even admitted that these might all stem from a single unifying force. But what could that be? Logically, my mind jumped to the divine. Could this unifying force be God himself? To explore this, I had to dig deeper. I studied the planets of our solar system in detail, their orbits, compositions, mysteries. Then I ventured into the micro-world, molecules, atoms, protons, neutrons, and beyond. Something inside me, call it intuition or a higher pull, drew me back to topics I'd touched on 20 years earlier. Nuclear fission, nuclear fusion, chemistry, the properties of matter. I revisited them all with fresh eyes. I devoured scientific works on galaxies, black holes, stars, and phenomena I'd never explored before. It was exhilarating, like piecing together a cosmic puzzle. But how does all this science connect to God? For materialist scientists, God isn't a tangible force influencing nature, so the idea of a creator, it's just not scientific to them. That divide fascinated me. How could the wonders of the universe exist without a divine hand? Then I stumbled upon something groundbreaking in an Orthodox magazine called Svyet, which means light in Russian. It detailed an event from 1998, the World Russian Council in Moscow. There, they officially proclaimed a union between religion and science. Patriarch Alexei II of all Rus admitted that the old notion of scientific knowledge being hostile to God and the Church was a mistake. This was etched in the Council's decision. Even more astonishing, the president of the Russian Academy of Sciences, academician Yuri Osipov, declared, "Scientists have concluded that a creator exists." For me, this was huge. It meant the Russian Orthodox Church and the pinnacle of Russian science had formed an alliance. Scientific knowledge wasn't an enemy to God or to the Bible. Does the Bible contradict science? That became my burning question. If this alliance was real, surely they must align somehow. But then I found a book that shook everything. Surprisingly, I came across a book by Isaac Asimov, the famous American writer and biochemist, titled In the Beginning, published in 1989. In it, Asimov compares the biblical account of creation, the first 11 chapters of Genesis, with what science tells us about the world's origins. What I found was stark, no agreement whatsoever. The Bible and science seem directly opposed in many ways. Asimov points out that if the ancient biblical authors had our modern scientific knowledge, they'd have written the story entirely differently.
This book is a hefty 400 pages, a fundamental work dissecting the Old Testament against scientific achievements. Subtly but clearly, it suggests the Bible lacks truth in these matters. I was stunned. Did the Russian Orthodox Church really align with this view? What was the point of their alliance with science if contradictions ran so deep? As a naive and inexperienced seeker, this puzzled me deeply. History is full of Christians who faced torture, suffering, even death rather than compromise with what they saw as the enemy. So why this union? Maybe there was something I didn't understand yet. One truth became crystal clear. True science and true religion can't contradict each other. Both should point to the same ultimate reality, the truth. If there's conflict, then somewhere there's a lie. My goal crystallized, to uncover where the falsehoods hid and where the genuine truth shone through. As I filled page after page in my notebook, I reflected on this journey. Starting from unemployment and curiosity, I'd traversed the macrocosm of stars and the microcosm of particles, the four forces, the alliance in Moscow, Asimov's contradictions. It all swirled in my mind. But here's the optimistic turn. This quest wasn't about picking sides. It was about seeking harmony. If scientists like Asimov could acknowledge a creator and religious leaders could embrace science, perhaps the dead end in fundamental physics was an invitation to consider the divine as that unifying force. I realized my studies weren't just academic, they were spiritual. Returning to nuclear physics felt like rediscovering old friends, now seen through a lens of wonder. Galaxies and black holes weren't cold facts, they were fingerprints of something greater. Yet the contradictions nagged. The Bible's poetic narrative versus science's empirical evidence. How to reconcile? Maybe the lie isn't in one or the other, but in our rigid interpretations. Perhaps truth lies in the synthesis, where faith fills the gaps science can't reach, and science illuminates the mechanisms of God's creation. So there I was in January 2000, at the dawn of my quest. In the beginning, words that echo from Genesis, from Asimov, from my own notebook. This journey taught me that questioning isn't doubt, it's the path to deeper understanding. If contradictions exist, let's not shy away, let's probe them. True science and true religion both chase truth. My goal remains, discern the lie from the truth. And maybe, just maybe, that unifying force is indeed divine. What about you? Have you ever bridged science and faith in your life? Share your stories in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. If this resonated, hit that like button. Subscribe for more explorations at the intersection of spirituality, science, and philosophy. Thanks for joining me on this personal journey. Until next time, keep seeking the light.